The Film Crickets are intended for mature audiences. Any guests on the Film Crickets do not necessarily share the same opinions as the Film Crickets.
Film Crickets, chirping about movies.
It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier, Chris Martineau, and Melanie Howerton. On this week's episode, it's just Jay and Chris, and they review the 2003 American superhero film, Hulk.
I didn't come here to see you. I came here to see my son, my real son, the one inside of you. Stop your bawling, you weak little speck of human trash.
Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
Perhaps we should have waited for Father's Day to do this movie. Hi, guys. Hi, Jay. How's it going? Welcome to Film Crickets, everybody.
Yeah, man.
God.
Welcome to the Film Crickets. My name is Jay Fortier. I'm along with my good friend and co-host Chris Martineau. How you doing, man?
Hey, Jason. What's going on?
All right. We are just the two of us. Melanie's off this week. She's off for a little bit, a little hiatus, but she will be back.
Yep.
So don't worry about that. And we've got a couple of bad movies lined up, like not today, but we're going to do at least, so I am going to tell you, we are, in the future, the next episode, hopefully, is going to be Predator 2. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to do Hulk, because I was like, hey, I really want to, I saw this movie a long time ago. Yeah. You want to just get into the history?
Sure. Go for it. Yeah. Give me your history with Hulk.
All right. So I saw it. I think I did not see it in the theater. I was actually disappointed that my wife took her, some kids in our family to go see it, and I was like, oh man, I missed it. And I didn't realize how bad it was. Right?
Yeah.
I was.
You missed it. You missed it, all right. Yep.
Yeah, but then I rented it, and I remember falling asleep a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think to this day, because of and we'll discuss all the details, but it's very tranquil throughout. When it's not action packed, there is action. Mm-hmm. So when there's no action, it's like the opposite, the total polar opposite. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've ever seen it, this viewing included, where I didn't do the head bob.
Mm-hmm. I almost made it.
Where it's like, ooh, so I'll talk about all that, but yes, it's hard for me to watch this movie without sometime at one point falling asleep.
Sure. I'll tell you, I'll do one better. First of all, my history with this movie is nil. When it came out in 2003, I really hadn't gone through my second phase of liking Marvel. I collected the comics, and then I kind of sat on them for a while, and then eventually my mother said, "Hey, I have your comic books," and I got them, and I sold them because they're all kind of classics. Then I realized they were like, "Oh, I kind of dig this," and then I bought a whole bunch again. So this isn't I'm at the early stage of the MCU, so this is before that, and I was interested in it. I think I was interested in it just because of the possible mayhem that the Hulk could bring. But then I think I was a victim to the pre-viral, again, no real internet necessarily yet. And the vibe was just like, this movie is kind of garbage, and it would let a lot of people down. And the MCU was kind of it didn't exist yet, but was kind of oh, maybe this isn't a good idea. X-Men was good, but then this movie was not. So I didn't bother with it. And then as time went on, since this movie is sort of canon, but not really, I had no reason to revisit it. And so that's it. And I'll tell you this, Jay, I knew it was going to be boring, and I knew its reputation. I was trying to go in with fresh eyes, trying to think about why they got Ang Lee for this movie, which I don't understand. And I'll tell you this, I almost made it through the whole thing without falling asleep. You know when I fell asleep? The second action set piece in the desert. I didn't make it to the end. I don't know how. I was waiting for Hulk smash, and Hulk finally smashes. And next thing I know, I wake up and they're in San Francisco, and Jennifer Connelly is calming him down. I'm like, what happened?
Wow.
And not only that, and we'll get into this in a minute, after that scene, Nick Nolte comes and visits Eric Bana comes to visit Bruce, and I'm like, oh, did I miss something? Did I miss something? Why is he in cuffs, and why is the army just letting him in? And apparently I didn't miss anything. He just kind of like shows up. What the fuck?
I think they brought him.
I know, but...
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, yeah. And the conversation that they have across from each other is just brutal. It's just like they're just sitting there.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's do the IMDb and then...
So here's the deal. So we looked at not the Incredible Hulk. Oh, no. Oh, this is Hulk. 2003.
There's nothing incredible about this Hulk.
No, it's true.
Except his size.
True. He does get
His
bigger, and his naked Hulk bottom. That is incredible.
Well, I'm just saying his height.
Sure, he does get big.
He's like King Kong.
I know. I think, but you got. Hold on. Let me say the thing. So Hulk,
right.
2003, PG-13 because of naked bottom. That's all I can imagine why. 2 hours and 18 minutes of this. Bruce Banner, a genetics researcher with a tragic past, suffers an accident that causes him to transform into a raging green monster when he gets angry. Directed by Academy Award winner Ang Lee. Written by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and James Schamus. Starring... Now, all of these actors are good. I don't get this. Eric Bana is great. Jennifer Connelly, Sam Elliott, Josh Lucas, Nick Nolte. Who else? Anybody else of note I need to worry about here? Lou Ferrigno makes a cameo. Stan Lee is in this movie for like one of the first of many. Daniel Day Kim from Lost is in it for like a hot second. And that's the movie. So why doesn't this movie work? What's the most... All right, so let me ask you this. So they got Ang Lee coming off of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. This is before Brokeback Mountain. This is before Life of Pi. So he's into introspection. There's going to be more to this movie than just the flashbang. So they got Ang Lee to make the movie. I don't know enough about the background of who they courted first. What, to you, Jay, what's the most, besides it being boring, which it is, what is the most aggravating part about this movie for you?
I'm really not into the weird comic book look, for one. Like, I don't mind if they had started the movie like that and then that was it, to just say, hey, you're in a comic.
Yep.
And then the rest of the movie. But, like, he kept doing it throughout and then stopped, then brought it back. There was, like, a big... wasn't there, like, a half hour more without it?
Yes.
So, why... Like, I wasn't missing it, and then he brought it back.
It gave me a headache.
One thing,
because if they just did like a split screen or maybe a quadrant, and it said like, you know, like in a comic book. If I were looking at a comic book, like here's a quadrant, and I understand you're pushing the envelope, and that's why they got him, because he has these great technical ideas. But it becomes distracting. Okay, like there's one time when Jay. What about the time now, guys? If you're not people that are listening, you know, like I said, he's trying to take this motif of looking at a comic book and how comic books aren't necessarily in quadrants or 6 panels. Sometimes they have little squares here, little squares there, just for emphasis. But he does it so much that it's distracting. And he does it just because it seems like he wants to. The one that really drove me crazy, remember the one where the square just floats across the screen? It was like a close-up of Eric Bana, and it just... There's an action set piece going on in the back, and there's just his face or somebody's close-up in a one-shot floating across the screen. Comic books don't do that. What are you doing to me? I don't get... It's distracting. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
He did 2 squares where Josh Lucas was walking toward somebody, and then in the other square, you see the back of Josh Lucas walk by.
Yeah.
So he like walks into this, then he appears again, sort of, and it's really, really weird. So the other thing that, like, you know, not just boring, okay, like let's not just like sum it up as boring straight up. It's like this huge contrast. I don't know if he was trying for tranquility prior to action, like the way that the Hulk needs to remain calm before he gets insane. What everybody in this movie, Eric Bana, every time he's talking to Jennifer Connelly, right? It's Jennifer Connelly.
Jennifer Connelly, yep.
Every time he's talking to her, the tone kind of is along these lines. So like for instance, she says like we're gonna have, I have this recurring nightmare, like because they both like lived on basically an army town, like a town that was created for the army.
Sure.
That is now a ghost town. It's not there. It's there, but it's empty.
Right.
But they were there as babies or like very, very young children. So they either half remember it or don't remember it. And she keeps having this like nightmare of eating ice cream with her dad. But like, she's like, and she's describing it like this. And then then she has this image of Eric Bana like strangling her in the dream.
Yeah.
And when like he realizes that's part of her nightmare, he goes, "Oh, don't worry about that. I would never hurt you." Like everything is still at that level.
Yeah.
That's not a movie level. I'm not saying you can never go there. But when the entire movie is kind of basically spoken like that, and then action, and then it's like, okay, we're back down. No, it's like you're killing me with this pace, and like volume level, and there's no inflection.
That's what I mean. Like they ask, you got Bana, they're all good actors. They're all good, and when we first meet, it was so confusing. Bruce Banner, Eric Bana. Is that on purpose? I don't know. So the first time we meet him, he's kind of like a nerdy, withdrawn geneticist who seems to be kind of devoid of feelings, like doesn't pick up social cues, doesn't want to like let people know how he's feeling. He obviously had a failed relationship with Jennifer Connelly just because he's just not that open or whatever. And it's almost like at the beginning of the movie, he's trying to be Zen, like Mark Ruffalo is in the Avengers movies. Like he's trying to stay calm. He's trying to say Zen. He's trying to, but he's not. He doesn't even know he's the Hulk yet.
And he doesn't even become the Hulk. He's not even going to become the Hulk until he gets majorly exposed.
Yeah,
to the gamma rays when he's protecting somebody.
That part is so freaking confusing. So wait a minute. So here's the thing. So Nick Nolte, who, by the way, can we just say, in the 80s TV show The Incredible Hulk, he was David Banner. Now, can you correct me if I'm wrong? And I am not saying this. This is the story I've heard, is that in the 80s, they didn't want to call him Bruce Banner because Bruce was more associated with I'm sorry, I'm just going to say, this is what they said, a homosexual name. And so people wouldn't fly with that in the 80s, so they called him David Bruce Banner. So David Banner. And now Nick Nolte in the movie plays David Banner. And Eric Bana plays Bruce Banner. But I don't believe in the comics, which again, maybe why people freaked out, there is no David Banner is not Bruce Banner's father. Anyway, bottom line, it's so ridiculous.
I know it was Bruce in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Because I remember being confused because I watched this TV series first. The Bill Bixby
I couldn't. I was too
one.
Scared.
I loved it though.
I was too young.
Yeah. But I was big into that. And so then when they were like, hey, you should check out the animated series that came out years ago. Like it's on now. And the song is like, Dr. Bruce Banner. Da, 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 da. I'm like, Bruce? What are you talking about, Bruce? His name's David. I was all like, I had no idea.
But isn't it like, and that was the other part to me. Now, so the comic book thing is infuriating. The tone is infuriating because you have a movie about people getting angry, but we don't. It's almost like he goes from nothing to enraged and whatever. So the bottom line,
that whole exposure thing, you were about to talk about that, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm just talking about things that irritate me. So in this movie, the whole why he gets his superpowers is confusing and irritating to me because the father in the 60s was working on the super soldier serum by like kind of extracting crap from jellyfish and starfish and things that regenerate naturally in the environment. So he's trying to develop the super serum serum. He injects himself. It doesn't work. He then gets his wife pregnant. He gets his wife pregnant. Now Bruce has the genetics to become the Hulk. but won't become the Hulk unless he's irradiated with his own experiment. So, and Nick Nolte says, and you heard it in the sound clip at the beginning, Nick Nolte is like, I want my real son, not the piece of garbage that's in front of me. So he's saying that the Hulk is latent inside of him the whole time, but needed Bruce to do an experiment to bring him out. But yet David Banner, the father, has been following him the whole time because he thinks that maybe he'll come up with an experiment to let the Hulk out. What the fuck? Like, how? That doesn't add up. That's not good storytelling. I don't know what you're talking about.
Now,
is that me? Am I missing some piece of this or no?
I don't know. I would say no.
It seemed like that's
okay
the thing.
If you're confused.
It's confusing. And Ang Lee is taking this rather than just the Hulk is, look, the Hulk gets, you get turned into Hulk when you get angry because of reasons. That's all you need, right? But now what Ang Lee is trying to do, and to his credit, he doubles down on it, is that he's really saying we all have the Hulk inside of us by repressing our feelings, and we all have a monster inside. It just so happens that Bruce Banner actually turns into a monster. But we all have a latent monster because of our upbringing sitting inside of us waiting. And we often see this when Bruce has a nightmare and you see a door closed and then the doors open and it's a shadowy figure behind the door and it's the Hulk, and then Bruce opens up. Like, so to him, the Hulk is a psychological monster. Mm-hmm. But we don't care about that. Do you care about a psychological monster?
Yet,
I
right?
don't. What?
He didn't become the Hulk yet, right?
I know, but he's having visions of him being the Hulk.
Right, so you wouldn't even have that in your head because,
Right.
like, you hadn't become that yet.
Genetics don't work like that. They don't. You pass DNA from father to son doesn't mean you're going to have a dream. Also, irritated me. Dads, they have at the beginning of this movie when they have the opening montage of Dad doing experiments. And by the way, I knew I was in trouble because when the Hulk title comes up, it looks like the same font as Shrek. I'm like, oh, we're in trouble. This is going to be a little rough. He's doing experiments and they're showing, like, it's not unlike the opening credits to Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Yes, yeah.
Right? Very similar. Also a shitty movie. It's terrible. But he's doing experiments with jellyfish, right? And then Eric Bana, Bruce, before he becomes the Hulk officially after getting irradiated to unlock the Hulk inside of him, is having nightmares about jellyfish. How would he know about the jellyfish? He doesn't even know his father exists, nor his work. Why would you have... What is happening? Why would you...
Yep. And while
I don't
Chris
get
is
it.
having a meltdown, we're going to talk about... To me... Jay, I'll tell you a story. Like, so I like Star Wars a lot, obviously, right? I was waiting for those Star Wars movies. Phantom Menace came out. I was a little disappointed. Saw it 3 times in the theater. I'm like, well, it wasn't great, but Darth Maul is cool. I like Qui-Gon Jinn. All right, Jar Jar can go away. That's fine. But, like, I didn't feel let down. I felt a little disappointed, but I'm like, well, it's the first movie. And then I saw Attack of the Clones. I know you hate
and
that.
I felt gutted at the end of Attack of the Clones. I'm like, what just happened to me? Like, I really hate that movie. And now I can see the people that went to go see Hulk that were MCU fans that saw X-Men, which X-Men's a great movie. X-Men 2 is a great movie. And they finally like, all right, we're going to do this Hulk thing. And they got this. Can you imagine? And then the next one, The Incredible Hulk, which also isn't great, a little bit better. It ain't great. It's a bit of a mess, but Jay, do you think it was executed well?
This movie?
Yeah, so what I'm asking is, like, Ang Lee went for a vibe. Do you think he did it well? And we just don't like it because it's like, we don't want this from our superhero.
Yeah, I
movies.
guess. I mean, he did his thing and he stuck to it, so congrats.
He did his thing, but
is that what we need?
yeah.
As you should probably think of the audience. Maybe try to figure out what they might want. You can't please everybody. It's impossible.
You can't.
It's
I'll give you
absolutely, especially this day and age.
No.
It's getting worse, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The older people get, the worse they become. Like when it comes to these series. Like, like, oh, they came out with this, they came out with Star Wars, man. What the hell? Like, it's like, I'm sorry, but you know what? There's no way ever are you going to be able to recreate the feeling you had back in 19 whatever. Like,
sure.
Like in 1970 something or 80 something. You can't recreate that feeling no matter how hard you try. So people are always going to find something to bitch about. Like with those the 7, 8, and 9.
Sure.
They just
they're flawed.
What the fuck? And it's like, chill, guys.
Yeah, it's space
Why don't
wizards.
you just check some of your brain at the door and grab some popcorn and enjoy the movie.
Right.
So in that case, you can't please everybody, but you should at least try to aim towards what the people are wanting. So I think sometimes maybe doing your own thing is not the best plan.
Yeah.
Because if nobody feels like they're invited to that party, they're gonna be let down. They're like, I don't understand what he did here. Like, it's like, I don't know. It was yeah, you're right, artsy. Like they were trying to like make it into an art.
Like they wanted me to somehow be introspective about Bruce Banner. You know what I mean? Like they wanted me to figure out what makes him tick. Like the whole point that Bruce has in the movie, the whole reason that Bruce has this inner anger is because he saw his father murder his mother by accident, because his father's cuckoo nuts, right? When he was trying to kill him, as we heard from the opening message, right? He's like, I'm gonna get him so I can perfect this experiment I've been doing or some shit. I don't fucking know. Anyway, so it's all a mess anyway. So Ang Lee is trying to tell us that he's angry inside because he's been repressing this traumatic experience that he's had. And if we can have the genetic mutation and then irradiate him with the gamma rays and then unlock this latent monster inside, then he will become this unstoppable thing that the army can use. I don't know. And I don't see why it has to do that. In the original comic book, not to go back to the original comic, but what Stan Lee was trying to say is, look, we're selling comic books to teenagers. And Marvel was more about angsty teenagers, not like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. They wanted like this kind of, more of an edge, because they knew we were selling to teenagers. And what better way can a teenager identify with a character that says, sometimes I get so angry that I become a monster. And I just want to smash. And that's why he's such a, like Peter Parker, like he's a superhero, but he has to deal with teenage problems. The X-Men are misfits. They're teenagers that don't fit in anywhere except with each other. But now we're trying to take this adult theme of repressed psychology. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't need that much. I don't need a cheeseburger. You know what I mean? I don't know. Why? I don't know why. And again, I'd have to rewatch the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk to see if it's any different. I don't think it necessarily is that much.
You mean you don't need filet mignon? Like you don't need something fancy?
Yeah.
When you said a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Like, I think we need the cheeseburger here. Like,
yeah.
More so, right?
I think that's the problem with, and I'm glad they're putting a break on the Marvel stuff, is because when it first started, it was the Avengers was the cheeseburger, and Iron Man was a cheeseburger, and it was so, and Thor is just a cheeseburger, and now we're getting, like, now that the blooms come off the rose a little bit, and now we're getting Madam Web, and
I haven't seen it, so I can't.
Yeah, and the Marvels, which they are what they are. I'm not going to complain about a freaking comic book movie, because again, but it's kind of gone a little bit. So I'm just, I don't know. Like, it's you're asking, how about this? If you want to make your introspective Hulk movie, at least establish the comic book movie first. You know what I mean? I don't know.
This would have been good no matter what.
Like,
even after, if this was the second movie.
Yeah, you're right.
It would have been upsetting. What happened to the cheeseburger?
Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man was 2002, I think, right? I think it's before this.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So another question that irritates me. Spider-Man CG graphics were fantastic. these CG graphics look like Shrek. It was never good.
Yeah, he was very.
Why are they so shitty?
He's also really like I had mentioned earlier, really tall, like 10 feet or more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think
where like she comes up to his waist.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else, like I don't think when he's in the Avengers, he's not that tall. Like
no, he's not.
He's tall, but he's not that tall. Like this was like really like gargantuan, and it was almost like that was a little too much because I don't know. It wasn't necessary. And
I think it's not totally necessary. If you look at, not to go to canon, but it seems like they're flirting with the actual idea of the Hulk, is that when the Hulk gets angrier, he gets stronger to almost unlimited levels. And I think he might get taller as he gets angrier because he's getting more muscle, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's distracting. And he's so big, it's distracting.
You know what I was confused by? He obviously was nice to her, even as Hulk, okay? And that's fine. That's understandable. I'm not going to fight that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So he sees her, he hides, he's calm, even though he's still Hulk.
Yeah.
And she goes, and then realizes it's him quickly, because she knew something was up ever since he survived the blast.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't shocked, and she could probably, you just have to assume that she could tell by his face that it was him.
Mm-hmm.
Just green and tall and whatever. But now these Hulk dogs,
Jesus Christ, the Hulk dogs
that Nick Nolte sent to go and kill Jennifer Connelly.
Yep.
Hunt her down and kill her because she knows too much or something stupid.
Something.
I don't know.
It's really confusing. Their everyone's motivations are.
You met her
confusing.
for 5 seconds, and now you're just going to send dogs after her.
Yep.
And so when Eric Bana as the Hulk, and she discovers he's the Hulk, sees that these dogs are coming, he protects her by putting her in the car, shutting the door, and then going to town beating up on these dogs that are, possessed dogs or whatever you want to call them, like
mutant dogs.
Mutant.
Yeah.
So like anybody who at home, if they feel bad about dogs being killed, they're not full dogs at this point. They're monsters.
Really CGI dogs.
Well,
like very.
And like, like he has to kill them or they're going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
But anyways, he protects her. He's not mean to her. And then he comes down, becomes normal again, and they're eating at the cabin, and then she makes a phone call to her dad saying, "Dad, I'm scared." It's like, wait, he protected you. He wasn't hurting you in any way, shape, or form. He didn't show any aggression in your direction. And why would you call your crazy father that like uses everything as a military weapon or like is going to not like let me break this down for a second. She already kind of works for she worked for the government or works for a lab?
No, they work in a lab.
Okay.
They work at Berkeley.
Your dad works for the government. You know him, okay? You know that's it. Let me ask you this. If anything was really, really out of the ordinary, like an alien or like something like that, and you called somebody from the government, would something sort of happen like where they'd be like, nah, no big deal. Have a good day. Like,
we'll keep an eye on it.
They'd come and collect the thing, and you'd never see the thing again. You know what I mean? So it's like, so you're gonna just think that he's just gonna be saved, and you're gonna get him again? No, of course he escapes. But what I'm saying is, I think that's not the best plan in the world.
Hey, Jay, you know it's a good plan. You capture the unhulked Hulk, right?
And try to make him become one.
You piss him off on purpose because he's so easy to control. No one thought whatever his face, that one of the other non-military, Josh Lucas. No one thought we've watched bullets bounce off of this guy, and he's gonna get a sample of his DNA once he hulks out. No one thought the drill's not gonna go through his skin. Like he takes on a bazooka shell. No, I'm gonna get this drill through though. What the fuck? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
It doesn't make sense. And like you said, the characters are acting, they're doing what Ang Lee says.
Yeah.
But they're flip-flopping back and forth. Jen Connelly's loves him, but she's indifferent to him, but she loves him, but she's scared of him, but she wants to protect him. Her father, I love you, but I love my daughter, but, you know, I don't want her happy, but I love her, but they're close, and they're not close, and then they're close, and they're lying to each other. Nick Nolte doesn't make a lick of sense. Now, I know he's supposed to be unhinged, right? I know he's supposed to be unhinged, and that his idea of fatherly love for his son is not something that's normal because he's lost his mind. But still, what is it? Do you love him? Do you not love him? Do you love the Hulk? Do you not love him? And now, secondly, Nick Nolte, another confusing bit. And again, this is comic book logic, but I can't get around it. Nick Nolte becomes the absorbing man, basically. Right? He does the test on himself, becomes the absorbing man. If you're the absorbing man, if you're wearing clothes, shouldn't you become flannel or cotton all the time? Like, I know that's nitpicking, and it's shut up. It's a comic book movie, and I believe you. I agree. If people yell at me right now, I agree with you a little bit.
However, you're having fun with it. I get it.
However, I mean, what the fuck? You basically have to be naked all the time and absorbing things. And you can absorb matter. You can absorb electricity and become an electrical being? What is that? Like, what is happening? And oh my God. They have their scene. Jake, we're going to talk about the scene where they talk, and then we're going to be done with this. Eric, because it could go on for a while. We finally have the showdown between the two Bruces, or the two Banners. Nick Nolte's in handcuffs. He's dangerous, but he's allowed to walk around. The military is watching this whole thing happen. He's dangerous at some point because they have him in cuffs, but they don't chain him to the chair. But they allow Eric Bana to be chained to the chair because he's the Hulk. I get it. But they let Dad walk around, but they're going to incinerate both of them if anything happens. And Dad is allowed carte blanche to do and say whatever he wants to his son for literally no reason. Does anyone know? I mean, I know Ross. Ross hates David Banner. Why would he allow him anything?
Ross is the father of...
Yeah. General
Like
Ross. He hates that guy. He thinks he's crazy. He's got him in his sights, and he...
lets him walk around freely, yeah.
Yeah. And then allows him to chew into a power cable?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. Wouldn't he become the cable first? Like
he would become rubber first. Yes, he was holding it. Yes.
Where his hands become like they're stuck.
Right. And the thing about the absorbing man is you don't have control over the absorption. Like, you can't just will it. You touch it and you become that thing.
And it's a new power.
Yeah,
you just got it like 5 minutes ago. So how are you all of a sudden so like the moment he reversed, remember he got stuck to the thing, and he just freed his hand, and he's like, I know what I need to do now, and then stomps on the floor, kills that guy right away. It's like, wait a minute, you should be a little more freaked. That I guess maybe we could just say that he's insane, so maybe that's why he's not freaked. But
I don't know. Like, if I suddenly knew I could fuse to a metal chair, I think I'd be a little more upset.
Right? Yeah.
So anyway,
but Sam Elliott, especially that moment where he was like, "Beef, it's what's for dinner tonight."
Yeah.
No, but I gotta say, I could listen to him talk all day.
Oh, sure.
He has just the ultimate. He does delivery, tones, he could narrate anything, and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to sleep, but in a good way, like that relaxes me. Like, he's just the ultimate voice.
It upsets me when they make him trim his big handlebar mustache.
Dude, that thing I don't think I've ever seen a more perfectly cropped mustache. Perfect. That thing was like somebody went in and like manicured that thing. That was like unreal.
But this isn't Stash Talk. It's Hulk Talk. No.
Welcome to Stash Talk, everybody.
Yeah, welcome to Stash
My name
Talk.
is Jay Fortier.
All right, then. Talking about famous mustaches and how they're trimmed. Yeah, it's that movie's horseshit. I don't know. It's
and the code name for the Hulk, Angry Man.
Angry Man.
Yes. Angry Man has been is out of containment.
Yep, Angry Man's out of containment. I got to brief the president about Angry Man because I'm sure the president knows. Yeah, Yeah. And you know what? Here's the thing. When the action set pieces come up, which you're waiting for, they're actually kind of disappointing.
By the way, are those real helicopters? Like they looked really weird. Like, you know what I'm talking? I'm just asking.
I don't remember.
They're very like almost looks like a concept car that will never make it.
No.
Like,
I don't know.
They were all these like angles. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I honestly don't remember.
I actually like very boxy and cut angles. Like,
I don't know enough about the Comanches are pretty angular, but I don't know enough.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just asking. I'm literally asking if that's real. Like not like going, oh, it looks real fake, man.
Don't want to get too Tom Clancy on you.
Hey, did one of the guys get out of the tank that flew like across the desert, or like somebody get out of the tank?
Yeah, all I remember is he rips the top of the tank off and shakes the people out.
Okay, well, what about the tank that got thrown? Did somebody get out of that, or no?
No, I don't know.
Okay, no, I'm just wondering. Like it was like a week ago, like when I watched it. But
no, it was yesterday.
No, it was just like I was like imagining no one would ever survive that because like it's all metal. It's all metal in there, right? It's not like the airbags go off in the tank.
No, they don't put airbags
really
in a tank.
Expecting like to go thrown across the desert.
No, the engine in a tank is a jet engine, so if anything happens, it's probably going to blow up. Again, I don't know enough about tanks, but I do know they get I think they get 75 yards to the gallon. That's what a friend of mine who was in Iraq said. It's like under 100 yards a gallon.
Nice.
They're constantly refueling those things. Like, it's unbelievable. So, all right.
Let's go to Final Judgment.
Sure enough.
We don't have any
no
TMI, so.
It's time now for Final Judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the Final Judgment.
This truly is a bitch. Yeah. You need the rubber stamp. This is a major bitch. Yeah.
So, hey, it doesn't hold up.
No?
No.
Why?
Here's the thing. It doesn't hold up for the CGI, for one. And it doesn't hold up, and I think, forgetting the fact that it's probably a quality movie. It's just not what we want out of this thing. And again, it doesn't need to be a cheeseburger, but I don't need this much depth in this movie. I just don't. In terms of holding up, I think that the way that the MCU and even the DCU, for that matter, the way it's going now, like they're cranking out movies that people are actually starting to not like. But I don't think that if suddenly the MCU said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get next set of whatever, Secret Wars movie. It's all going to be introspective. I think people would lose their goddamn minds. I don't think the audience that has been groomed on these movies since 2012 is not going to accept Ang Lee's Hulk from 2003. So I think the tone is all wrong. I think it's just... I'm going to say no. It doesn't hold up. I think you should watch it. I think people should watch it if they're into comic book movies. Just
it actually is canon.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not 100, but it's close because, I mean, at the end of this, he's missing.
Yeah.
He's out in the jungle somewhere. And at the beginning of The Incredible Hulk, he's in the jungle somewhere, or at least in Brazil or whatever. He's somewhere.
Beginning of Avengers, he's in the middle of nowhere too, like just helping people as a doctor.
Right, but what I'm saying is like Ross is the guy that's everything is, and he's already established at the Incredible Hulk. He's already the Hulk. So you almost need to. I mean, in a way, if you want to see the origin, you have to go to that one.
Right.
This one that we're talking about today.
Sure.
Like, even if it's painful, if you want to see the origin, there it is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to agree with you that it doesn't hold up. It doesn't it also doesn't hold up because I was talking about the the tranquility and everything. Like, it's so freaking slow because of that. Okay? Nobody wants that, especially if they're going to see a comic book action movie. Now, on the trailer, he's spinning tanks and he's throwing everybody, he's going nuts. Well, that's kind of what you're hoping for. You don't have to have it from the beginning to the end, but you need more of that than or the stuff that leads up to it. You need stuff that's a little more interesting. The conversations, like I said, he's even talking about like a heartbeat at one point where he's like, boom.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. It's whoa, dude. Look, this is not interesting at all.
Was he coming down from being the Hulk?
I don't remember.
He's like, I can feel my heartbeat. And he has like a crazy look in his eye, like boom. But and Jennifer Connelly goes, "Wow, that's weird."
Yes, like everything is this weird tone. Like it's not even like he's not even going, boom. Like, and I'm not saying I can act better. I'm saying there's no inflection. Everything is like, when he's done with that, she's like, oh, okay, blah, 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 blah. Like, whatever it is, it's all this really low tone. And people need to, like, be interested in this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and you're not helping us get there. Like, when did Iron Man come out?
2009, 8 or 9.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So, like, they understood, like, because of course Tony Stark is a much more interesting character.
True.
They understood that, like, I love their mix of humor with, you can still become serious and upset about what's happening.
Yep.
But you still, like, are so entertained until then. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Tobey Maguire does a great job with that. We're talking pre-MCU. Just talk Spider-Man. He's so good at that. Yeah. And the stakes are high, and the action set pieces put into, you understand the stakes of the action. Whereas in Hulk, it's just, he's going to smash. And the stakes are, I don't know what the stakes are.
Before then, it's like,
no smash.
It's like lying down in a
I'm pretty sure
sensory deprivation tank or something.
I'm pretty sure it was 50 minutes until something happened.
Wow.
Because I kept pausing it to see what the runtime was.
Yeah, and we're not in the age of Jaws. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't need to. Like, the Hulk was working the entire time because it was CGI.
Yeah. Oh God. Like. Anyway. So yeah.
Shark's not working. But all right. So that was our show, everybody. I know that these last 2 episodes have been shorter, but it's just just
right.
Let everybody know at home. Like, we might have others that, like, will last an hour again. It's not like we've made a decision that they're all going to be 45 minutes. Yeah. But I'm just glad I finally get to talk about this with somebody because I saw it years ago and it was like really like I keep dude. And before we go, I want to say there are some movies I keep wanting to like. Has that ever happened to you?
Yep.
This is one of those, I want to like this, and I still just don't. And another one I don't like, and I want to like, is Man of Steel. Like,
sure,
it's so moody and broody. Like, and I blame Zack Snyder for that. Like, so I think I'm just gonna have to blame Ang Lee for this because, like, it's just I want to like it, but you won't let me. Yeah. Like I've kind of like sometimes I've rewatched a movie. Knowing what I'm going to get into, and I like it better because I'm ready for it now. Yeah, like I'll go. I know this is what I'm going to get, so like let me just try again, knowing because sometimes I don't like a movie because I'm not ready for what they're going to throw at me. Sure. So then I'll go again and I'll try again, and it's like, oh, this was better. Okay, I like it. That type of thing. Yeah, this doesn't happen, and I promise you, if I go rewatch Man of Steel, I'm going to feel just as like.
Yeah.
because everything's like glum and like down, and it's like it doesn't have to be this way. You can get down and be depressed about what's happening, like in the middle of the movie, after sort of being entertained first. You know, and give me some entertainment, lighten it up. It's a movie. It doesn't all have to feel like Saving Private Ryan. You know, like it doesn't have to be that dark. All right.
No, it doesn't. I'm trying to think of one that would be the same for me. The only thing I can think of offhand was how disappointed I was with my rewatch of The Dark Knight. Like, because I used to really like it, and
that's in reverse then.
Yeah, it's a little reverse. Like I really liked it. I swore by it, and I still like the Joker, but the rest of the movie is like long and boring, and like you realize that the movie's just like it's just a racketeering conspiracy cop movie with Batman in it. And I'm like, man, I don't remember how little Heath Ledger is in this movie and how much like it doesn't matter. And I'm like, oh man, that's like I almost want to watch it again to try again because I used to really like it. And it was a slime. Like, why is this movie taking so long? I don't remember this taking this long.
All right, so that was our show, everyone, and hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, I don't know when we're gonna do Predator 2 soon. Hopefully this week or whatever. And so then Melanie will be back, and that'll be great. So
cool.
we look forward to her coming back. We miss you.
I can dig it.
Hey, have a great week, everybody, and until next time, movies may not age like fine wine, but we drink it anyway. Bye.
Film crickets, chirping about movies. We put them two thumbs up and we rub them together. Make a sound that sounds like what we think about the movie. Film crickets, chirping about movies. Chirping about, chirping about, chirping about, chirping about. Film crickets, chirping about movies.